If you're an artist in your 20s right now, I've got some advice for you that will literally help you enjoy the rest of your life. And while you watch me draw this, learn what you need to let go of. And don't worry, it won't be bad, you won't miss it. But by doing this, you'll learn by the end of this video how you will either make the rest of your life happy or you're gonna make it really hard. So just to give you all a little bit of context here, your 20s are a really weird time in your life, all right? And I don't think anybody really talks about this enough. You have choice, you're out of school, you're out of your parents' house. This is when you're starting to make a life for yourself. And that's why, because of this is a really tumultuous time where a lot of people really crumble and they don't understand how this sets a tone for everything else. And I'll also tell you that the reason why I wanted to make this video today is because it's my birthday and I'm turning 40 today, and I'm pleased to be able to share this day with you. And I just started to reflect back on some of my conversations with artists just like you that are in your age group and what they did and they didn't do. Because oftentimes when I work with people one-on-one, they'll tell me that they feel like they just wasted this entire decade. And this aligns to something that I've heard from Alex Hormozy too, who says that there's no perfect way to live your 20s. You're either overlived and underworked or overworked and underlived. And for me, I've made so many mistakes in my 20s. I did some good things too, but I wanted to go ahead and share this with you so that you knew what you could go ahead and produce right now and start to do so that you can make the life that you want and that you idolize right now. And so to go ahead and do this, y'all, I want to present to you this framework, which I call the artist effigies, so that you know what you can give up and it won't be anything that you're gonna miss. So check it out. Here's what you need to know first. One thing I want to let you know, and even if you're like looking at my stuff right now, or you've been following me for a little bit and you're like thinking that my stuff is cool, that I'm doing artistically here, or you're impressed by anything that I've said before, I'd want to just follow up that with letting you know, in complete honesty, I was never the best artist. I was never the best in my class. There were always people so much better than me. I never got the best grades in my class. I was never the most praised person for almost anything that I did in high school, in college, and for a large part of my 20s too. Like I would say pretty much all of my 20s. Like nobody was really ever impressed with anything that I did other than like my mom or my wife. And this is therefore going to introduce the first effigy, which is your perception of success. And the reason why I bring this up is because this is something that I felt very deeply in my 20s. I felt like because I was not as accomplished as some of my peers, because I was not as recognized as some of my peers, that there was not enough hope for me. I doubted myself. I thought that there could be no future potential for me. And there were so many moments in my life where I was just like, I don't know if I have this in me. Have you ever felt like that too? And so you'll see all of these people when you're going through school, when you're starting your job, whether it's in or outside of our field, you know what I'm talking about, right? And they will just excel past you. And they have, and they've been holding that steady. And you are going to look at them and say, wow, they're so successful. I'm not. Why am I not as successful as them? And you hear what you're doing again, by the way? You're forcing an unfair comparison. And because of that, y'all, you really need to kind of see this for what it is. Your perception of their success matters more to you than it does to them. The reality is that people that are successful don't think of themselves that way, and they don't hold themselves that well. And you holding this really aggrandized, in other words, you have this really inflated perception of them. It doesn't serve them. It's a disservice to you. It shrinks you. It makes you think that you can't. It holds you back. It starts to install this programming in you that you're not worthy. And that's not true, because you are. So take it from me, y'all. I'm somebody who's been able to grow multiple art businesses, who's been able to grow an audience, who's been able to make much better illustrations right now than when I did 20 years ago, and certainly when I was 6 years old when I first started this whole thing. And the best thing that I want to let you know at this point is that just because somebody is successful earlier in life artistically, there's no guarantee that they will continue. In fact, let me just drop this brutal honesty bomb on you. Most of the people that you know artistically are going to give up. And they will give up roughly in the next 5 to 10 years from this very moment that you're watching this video. I guarantee it. Art is a war of attrition. There's a lot of reasons why people cannot sustain this. It has nothing to do with economics, and it has everything to do with mentality and personality. So while I cannot ever say that I was the best person artistically in my class, I can say that if I compare myself to everybody that I went to school with, I am, because I'm the only one that's still doing it. Everybody else gave up. And I guarantee you that that will happen. And also, I'll let you know that I have seen so many outrageously successful artists go ahead and abandon their craft for completely non-art related reasons. So my friend, if you stick this out, you're gonna make it. Next, this is something that honestly I feel like I still kind of have to get a handle on myself, and this is something that I'm sure you feel right now. You are probably looking around and you know of all of these incredibly well-renowned artists, right? I personally have some of them for my mentors, the ones that I look up to. And you might be thinking to yourself, and tell me if this is you, are you like, oh my God, well, I don't have anybody that has eyes on my stuff. Nobody cares about my artwork. Nobody comments. I can't get any type of feedback for anything that I'm making, right? Is this you? And you might be thinking that, oh, well, they have a really big following. I've got nothing. They've got this great, awesome career. I don't have anything. And now let's talk about the next effigy that you need to burn. Let go of the fact that you are a nobody. And I want to represent this to you in a much different light that you have not considered. Being a nobody is a complete superpower that nobody else talks about. So please let me go ahead and enlighten you on this one. When you are highly well-renowned, as you become more recognized in anything, especially in online spaces, okay? Here's what happens. You have expectations of you. A lot of people also start to have a little bit of an ego. They fall back on that, and that prevents them from further growing. They also, therefore, are rather confined to, at times, like what they can or they can't do. It's very hard for people that have an image of themselves to go ahead and break free of that. For you as a complete nobody in your 20s right now, if you are this person, because I'm gonna guess like vast majority of people watching this are, that's a good thing. Listen, you are free to explore everything that you can. You are free to go ahead and challenge yourself however you want to. You're free to go ahead and do things that are fun that relate to you. One of, in fact, the biggest things that I would recommend more artists in this age group do more often is to make sure that you're having fun with your art. You need to have a very positive relationship with your art before you think about monetizing it, getting a job in it, because all too often do I see artists in their late teens, early 20s, and they're like rushing into, oh my God, is this good? Can I sell this? How much can I sell this for? I really need money. How much can I sell this for? Don't do that. Your art is not a freaking product. It's a product of your humanity. If you don't have a positive relationship with it, it's not ever gonna take you anywhere. In fact, let me just level this up. You will resent it and you're gonna give it up. And you don't wanna do that because you're in art for the right reasons, right? But as a complete nobody, one of the things that I learned, because still to this day, I don't have a very big following, like even here right now is the time of recording this on YouTube, like I'm really not that big of a creator whatsoever. I'm a very small creator, even though I would love to grow. And hey, if you want to support that, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. It's going to give you good, honest content like this every single week. That'll help you level up. And if you know somebody that this would help reach too, please go ahead and share with them. I'd definitely appreciate that, and so will I. And then the other thing too that you need to know is that this is your time to just like grow in the shadow. And that's something that I think that not a lot of people talk about is you'll see all these people just like seemingly explode out of nowhere. But this is why. This is kind of like your sowing time in your life. I want you to think about that because you're gonna reap the benefits of this in your 30s and 40s. And the more that you sow, the better of a field that you tend to, artistically speaking here, the more you're gonna be able to feed yourself. But if you're concerned that the fact that nobody knows you, okay, what are you gonna do about that? Get yourself in front of people. Y'all, nobody's gonna come to you. You need to go to them first. And that's also a very common flaw around your age group is that you're gonna expect everybody to just flock to you, but you're not gonna wanna give anything back to them. No, you be the person that is outgoing. You be the person that inserts yourself into conversations. You be the person that does that. But you're not gonna ever get there. You're not ever gonna let this go, that the fact that you're nobody is holding you back until you go ahead and accept that this is something really awesome for you and it's not a weight. Moving on. This is kind of a sensitive topic as I really think back to what it was like for me when I had to deal with a lot of hard people in my life. And a lot of times, especially when you tell people you wanna be an artist, you wanna go to an art field, whatever, what they'll say to you is that you need to be realistic. And they'll start to either really overtly or subtly push you in other directions. Oh, no, honey, you shouldn't do that. Why don't we do this? Or, hey, our family does that. Why don't you just try that? Or as it came to me, I was told, no, you won't do that, Sean. You'll be a garbage man. You'll be broke. You'll be homeless. You'll be living in a box. I was literally told these things, okay? And I understand why people do this to you. Honestly, they're trying to do it most of the time because they're concerned for you or they care about you. It's not insidious most of the time. Sometimes it is though. And so that brings about the next effigy that you need to let go of, which is people's opinions on your limitations. And so the way I really drastically need to shift your perception of this one is as such. I've had people so many times that being told that you need to be realistic is a better course of life. And just to put it out there, you do need to make money. You do need to live. You do need to sustain yourself. And just to put it out there too, you don't have to go all in on art from the time that you're born. You can build it. That's what I did. But as people are trying to explain to you through whatever loving lens that they either have or they don't have, when people start to install these limitations onto you and they say things like, that's not realistic, or we need to be more realistic, or, oh honey, I really wish that you would do something else instead, I want you to hear it for what it is. They are not helping you, they are trauma dumping onto you. Because I guarantee you that if you ask that same person, are they happy and fulfilled with everything that they are doing in their life? Most likely the answer is no. What they're actually doing is they're just repeating something that they've told themselves. Oh, I couldn't go for this passionate endeavor, therefore you can't either. Because they can't see themselves doing what you say you want to do, then therefore it's impossible to you. It's not fact, it's just their perception of it. And they are trauma dumping that onto you. It's literally just that simple. So let go of their limitations because this becomes a sort of programming for you. And you need to work through the rest of your life to deprogram yourself from what other people's thoughts and opinions of you have been. And to grow yourself, like I'm gonna explain to you in this video too, about how do you grow your own expectations and create your version of yourself, not other people's versions of you. Now, being at this young stage in your life, I felt exactly what you're going through right now. And listen, there's a lot of things, and just be honest, there's tons of things that have always existed in the art world that will make you feel like you can and you can't make it. You might be afraid of AI, you might be afraid of the market, you might be afraid of joblessness, you might be afraid of your potential or lack thereof, right? And so this kind of brings about something that I felt when I was in my 20s, which is that I needed confidence. And just to put it in perspective too, if you didn't know this, like I used to be and I think I still kind of am probably at some point, but I used to be an extremely socially awkward person. And I used to not be able to talk to people. And I kind of learned how to grow through this, and I want to go ahead and give you advice on this, both as a person, but also specifically as an artist. The next effigy you need to burn and let go of is you needing confidence. And y'all, here's the biggest thing that you need to know and understand. Building confidence is not about you having it or not. There's nobody in the world that's just born confident, okay? It's about you building evidence to show that you can do things. Like, just to be honest with you, when you learned how to tie your shoes, you probably had multiple breakdowns. I remember showing my son how to tie his shoes. He cried literally so many times. Now, he can just do it on a whim. Do you cry over tying your shoes? Of course not. It's just easy, right? And if you're afraid, hey Sean, well, I have imposter syndrome. I'm afraid that I just am not this type of person. Let me just spell this out for you. You are a fraud. That's correct. And why am I saying that with a smile on my face? Because of course you are. If you're somebody right now that's like, oh, I've never done this, I've never done that, I don't think I can do this, I don't think I can do that. Your problem isn't confidence, it's evidence. You haven't tried it. So right now, if you're like, oh, I'm afraid to start my business, just start it, just try it. If you're afraid of trying to get clients, just do it. If you think that you're not cut out to do freelance work and you don't know what it's like to work with clients and you're not sure if you're gonna be able to, try it out. If you think that you're not ready yet to start your comic, just start it. You don't have evidence that you can do these things. That's why you feel this way. You are a fraud until you give yourself enough evidence to say, oh, I can do this. Hey, it's not that bad. And if you're one of these people who are afraid to launch, my friend, let me just release you from that too. Being ready is a choice. It's not a feeling. Nothing, the clouds don't part, sunshine just and rays beam down on you and somebody says, like, you hear a voice above saying, you are ready, Sean. No, it doesn't happen. It never happened to me. It won't happen to you either. If you think that you need confidence, no, friend, you need evidence. The more evidence that you have, the more empowered that you're going to feel and the more that you will be able to do. Now, following that topic, here comes your next one, which circles around the fact that when I was younger, and especially coming into my adulthood like you are right now, you might take a look back at what you've had to go through just to get to your current point and tell me, like, have you had to go through some hard circumstances? And I mean, just being an artist alone, like, it is kind of producing a lot of hard circumstances for a lot of people. Myself personally, I had a very unsupportive family. They did not really appreciate the fact that I wanted to be an artist. They either told me straight out that it would not work out. I needed to be realistic, and we'll talk about that today too, and how that is something that you need to oppose. And then also too, like, I dealt with some really nasty, toxic people in my life. And I felt like that was really holding me back so much. And that brings about the next effigy that you need to burn right now, which is that you need to let go of feeling bad for your circumstances. Like, I get it. You had it tough. You had it hard, kid. And I just want to put this out there. What you've had to go through so far in life, largely, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that your parents sucked. It's not your fault that you had to deal with traumatic situations. It's not your fault that you were put into a group in a location that did not give you what you wanted and needed. And this was hard for me to do at some point, because at some point, y'all, you just need to go ahead and accept this fact. What happened to you in the first stage of your life, those first 20 years, it's not your fault. But we need to role reverse this for a second. What happens in the next 60 years of your life is only your fault. If you were born poor, if you're completely unknown, if you were completely unexceptional, I can relate to you so much. Unexceptional should be the title of my autobiography for the first 30 years of my life. I totally get that, okay? But a major mindset shift that I encountered when I was in my 30s, and I wish I started to do this a little bit earlier, was that you need to start to take control of your life. It's fine, there's so many things that have happened to you that were totally outside your locus of control. But now, in your 20s, build your control, build your locus, strengthen that net. Because again, the first 20 years of your life, it's largely not even your call. You're told to go to school, you're told to go here, you're told to do this, you have to comply with this, you have to comply with that. But guess what? Not the case anymore. You are a completely sovereign being at this point. In other words, you get to make your own decisions, which means you get to reap the consequences. And consequences are good and bad. But if you're carrying around this load of feeling bad for yourself and you feel at blame and you feel like you are the victim of this, I understand. But why don't you use that and transform that into your fuel rather than your anchor? Now, here's a topic that you deal with a lot, and you probably have heard a lot of people talk to you a lot. And the way that you have been presented this information is honestly absent or backwards from how it actually works. And so the next effigy we need to burn, let go of, is you needing motivation. Are you this type of person right now? Are you thinking to yourself, well, Sean, I can't do what I need to. I just have no motivation. I don't have enough motivation to do that, to chase that, to build this. Okay, here's what it really is. You think that motivation is a precursory requirement. In other words, you think you need it to do something. In reality, it's opposite. You need to do something to feel motivated towards it. You feel bad about what you do and you can't do, and you will always be more nervous, afraid, anxious before you do something than after you start something. I can put this into my own perspective. Still to this day, I feel very anxious about every artwork that I'm going to start before I start it. Every single time that I start working with a client, I'm anxious about how that's going to go until I start it. And so therefore, what I've done, and I suggest you do too, is to just take little steps towards it. Just start to take some form of action. And I'm not talking about thinking about it and planning, because we'll talk about that in a second. But no, friend, you need to just understand this. You do not build motivation, nor do you gain motivation from it just being innate, and therefore some of you are just left behind the dust. No, friend, it's the opposite. The more that you do, the more motivated that you feel. And let me just represent it to you like this. Motivation is really just a measurement of your proficiency. You will feel more proficient with things the more that you do things. But guess what? It works in reverse too. There's this thing called negative momentum, which means that the more times that you say no to yourself, the more times that you don't do it, the easier it becomes for you to not. And now I know what you're going to say to me. You're going to say, Sean, well, easier said than done. And I'm going to prove to you right now why that's not easier said than done. You might think, well, Sean, it's easier said than done to start an art business. Really? So you would prefer to work 40 years for the rest of your life in that miserable job? Oh, okay. That's interesting. That sounds easier to you? Or it's so hard to go ahead and just get up and be more active because I'm incredibly overweight and unhealthy. Okay. So it's easier for you to be like hospitally bedbound for the rest of your life on loads of medication that won't help you, and you're just gonna have to suffer a slow death? That doesn't sound hard? Here's the reality. You will choose your hard in life. You can choose it upfront or you can choose to put it off. But it's gonna be your call, and you can't walk around blaming motivation for it. Otherwise, I can promise you, if you're gonna rely on that for this 20 years of your life, the next 80 years of your life are really gonna be rough. And you're not gonna be any more motivated to make any other changes then either. When I was very young in my 20s, I felt like everybody had it so much easier than me. I was not given a silver spoon, and I did not have the greatest family. They definitely didn't support me. And I would look around at all these people and be like, oh my God, look, they're so much more beautiful than me. They're more successful than me. Oh my God, like look at their artwork compared to mine. They seem to just have everything together. And that wasn't me. And that might not be you either, right? And that brings about the next effigy that I want you to burn so that you can let it go, which is envy. And you're gonna look at people online and tell me, you feel this way, don't you? You look at some people and either you know them in real life, you went to school with them, or yeah, you're just looking at them online and you're saying, oh man, their life is so much better than mine. Man, they got it so much easier than me. Oh my God, look at what they did. Look at what they've accomplished. And we'll talk about those accomplishments and your perception of them soon too. But at the outset, here's a really grounded reality. Everybody online is lying. 90% of everything that you are seeing online is not real. What are they doing? They're presenting like the highlight reel of their life. And they're saying, oh, well, we went here in expensive vacations and we got this great stuff. And oh my God, we're such a great family. But honestly, the way that they're presenting themselves is so curated, it's a false reality. And what that does, just to spell it out for you, number one is that it's making you envious. And you're saying, well, I wish I had that and I want to do that and I'm not. And it's giving you this feeling of inferiority. And that's another topic I'll talk to you about today because I'm sure that you feel this on some level. And second, you're also now forcing yourself to get caught in a comparison trap. And the only reason that you feel that way is because of the fact that you are placing yourself on a pedestal below somebody else. So many times when I work with people in my mentorship and they say, Sean, I really don't feel like I'm where I should be. And I'm like, why? Versus whom? Why is that? And again, like imagine if people that you knew online that you follow were just friggin' honest. Like imagine if you saw people putting up posts that said like, hey, look at me, just got out of the gym and decided to go and pound down a 3,000 calorie calzone. Hey, staying late at work so I could spend some time with my secretary and avoid my children. Hey, cheating on my boyfriend. But you won't see that. You won't see what people are doing to themselves and to other people online. You'll just see them put up these glorifying posts. You'll see their artwork coming out too. And you're gonna have these weird perceptions about what they have and they have not gone through to get there. But that doesn't need to be you, friend. And if you want to be successful and you actually want to stick with your artistry, you need to let that go because it will not serve you. It will only serve to keep you down and keep you belittled. Next, let's talk about one of the biggest things that I love and you love to do too, and it has to do with your planning phase. And that kind of brings up our next effigy you need to burn and let go of, which is glorifying thinking. Because tell me this, I bet you have some great ideas. You have some great concepts. You've got some great characters. Do you have some really awesome OCs? And do you have some really awesome scenarios, some projects you want to do? But they're trapped up here and they never seem to come out. Or you started it and they just never do. Because of that, let me just put this out for you and spell this out to you. You really glorify thinking. You think that thinking really matters that much. You think that everything that's trapped up here in your mental vault is somehow just gonna just come about by itself. It's just gonna manifest. And my friend, it won't. You know that. And what we tend to do is we tend to trap ourselves in the cycle of thinking about it. And that's also why too, you're gonna overthink yourself into thinking that, well, I can't do this and I can't start this business and I can't work with clients and I can't make money and I can't make enough money off of it and I can't raise my prices on this and so on and so forth. It's so easy for you. And so my friend, the biggest thing that you need to know and understand about this is very simple. You will never outthink yourself. Your brain knows every single landmine to step on and to put you through hell so that you don't do what you want to do. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not keep you happy, friend. And it's not there to keep you motivated. It's not there to put you in a successful state. It's just meant for stability, because stability is safety, and in the absence of safety is death to your brain. So because of all that, you need to understand this straight up. You thinking about your projects will never bring it about. You over planning for 3 hours for that project you want to start, it's never going to help. You need to just go ahead and make it exist first and then make it good. You need to go through the ugly phases, because the ugly phases get smoothed out. You start to polish those rough edges. You have to expect though that everything in life, including you and your life right now, it's going to go through an ugly phase. So let it happen, let it be, and expect it rather than shun it. But if you're still thinking about it, you will never outthink yourself, because all you're doing there is you're helping perpetuate a cycle of self-abuse. Do you realize that? Next, let's talk about a big 21st century skill that more people, especially artists, need to go ahead and really master. And the next effigy that you need to give up is normalizing overconsumption. And to make this point, one thing that I want to let you know is that you have literally been conditioned from a hyper young age, like most of you since you were babies watching this, to just go ahead and be complete media hogs. Like from the time you were born and you would be upset, and from the time that you would start to act up, you would be sat in front of a screen. And that's how you would learn to self-regulate yourself emotionally. Now, as an adult, what you don't understand is that the growth of that has now exploded. And just as an example, I talk to so many artists and they'll tell me that like while they're drawing, they have to have a TV going, their phone is on, and they're listening to music. And I just want you to just understand this, just so this can literally help you just to be a better human being here, somebody that can get stuff done. I want you to view media as a drug, because it literally is. Like just as an example, if you say to yourself, oh, well, I only play video games like when I get upset. Okay, well, what if I reverse that and said, hey, every single time that I get upset, I just do some black tar heroin. You would say that that's unhealthy, right? And so what we've kind of learned to associate, usually not like it's been directly told to you, but that you can't function without stimulation. And for you as an artist, this is the number one reason, by the way, why you're depressed, why you're anxious, why you feel inferior, why you feel like you can't do anything in life, is because of the fact that you are so over-mediated that you cannot function anymore as a proper human being, because you constantly need stimulation. And so if you're in this boat here, here's what I want to ask you to do, very simply here, is I want you to kind of flip this on its head, okay? If you have an addiction, you have to wean yourself off of it. Myself personally, I used to be a hardcore game addict, okay? And one of the things, I think this is weird, but I don't understand how no one's ever talked about it before, so here we go. Every single time that you load up a game, like I play a lot of RPGs, it'll tell me on there exactly how many hours I played. And I know that for a lot of people that feels like it's something to be prideful about, but I think that should scare the crap out of you. Because, like, for example, I remember playing Elder Scrolls for like 200 hours. But now I look back on that and I'm just like disgusted by it. Like, why? No one's impressed by that. No one's impressed by how many shows you've watched or how many seasons you've seen or how many gamer achievements you have. None of that matters. But if I take a look at how many hours I put into my art life, that can actually build a sense of accomplishment. And the thing that I want to let you know is that all media is meant to hack you so that you feel this false sense of accomplishment. So that while you're playing 200 hours of World of Warcraft, you get all of these achievements and this cool stuff, and that fills a hole in yourself that you know you don't have any cool stuff. You don't have anything as much, at least, to feel prideful of. It's a hack. Am I saying you have to totally cut it out? Heck no. But here's my simple formula for you, okay? I call this a 2/3 split. So every single hour that you spend 3 times that amount on doing something creative. It doesn't even have to be art. Like for me, I don't have time every single week to spend like 30 hours on my artwork, but I might make some artwork. I might also do some video editing. I might do some recording and scripting. All of that is creative. I want to push you here. Be more creative than you are a consumer, because the biggest decision of your life is going to be, are you going to be a consumer of media or a creator of media? And I can promise you this, if you're going to choose consumerism, you're going to be a miserable human being. Now, building off a previous point, you probably had to deal with some hardships, right? Myself personally, when I was growing up, I dealt with some, honestly, like really toxic people that were very verbally abusive, that did not support me the way that I needed to at that time. I look back at them and I really wish that they had really seen themselves through my eyes, that they considered that what they're doing was harmful and not helpful. And you probably have gone through some circumstances in your life that you're not happy that you had to go through. You're not proud of it. You wish that it never even happened. Like, do you have memories that you just wish you could erase? I have those too. And I've definitely not been given this like pampered, privileged life. And that kind of brings up the next effigy that I really want you to burn hard and just completely let this go, which is bemoaning your circumstances. In other words, you have to stop telling yourself the story that's just completely on repeat, and you're making this excuse for everything that's happening right now in your life when you're in control of it at this point now, and saying that it's the fault of everything that's happened to you, all right? And just to be perfectly honest with you here, everybody has challenges in their life. Everybody has some sucky components of life. Everybody's life is hard. But what do you want out of that? What do you want out of your trauma dumping? What do you want from you blaming everything on your mom, your dad, your family, your lack of support? What do you want from that? Like, do you want an award for having the hardest life? All right, fine, here you go. But what does that do for you? If you want to be recognized and put on top of a pedestal and adorned with flowers and roses and say, yes, you have the hardest life, your life sucks the most, it will do nothing for you, and nobody will care about it, and you will make absolutely nothing of it. And just to put this into context here, I'm sure that you know plenty of people, or you will know plenty of people very soon, my friend, who will literally be in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, still complaining about something that happened to them when they were a teenager, when they were younger than a teenager, when they were in their 20s. And it makes absolutely no sense for you to continue to blame something or somebody in your life for something that happened to you for the next 80 years of your life. This is something that I struggle with really hard, and something that I still, honestly, like that demon's still in me. And I'm just continually working to try and exercise it a little bit more. And the reason why I want to let you know this, y'all, is because there's this effect called transgenerational trauma, where you have experienced some type of traumatic event that can be a big trauma, little trauma, whatever it is, and you will therefore pass it down to the next generation. You'll give it to your kids, and you'll give it to your kids' kids, and your kids' kids' kids. And people do this, and all that does is literally destroy your potential. And so if you want to go ahead and break through, let me just present this to you in a different way. Everything that you've gone through should be fuel for you to succeed. It is a reason for you to do better. It is a reason for you to enrich the lives of future generations, for your future generation too, for your legacy, right? I think about that with my kids very heavily too, is that I don't want to treat them the way I was treated. I don't want to install these limiting mindsets into them the way that I had that done to me. And so I really beg you to consider this. What circumstances have you gone through that you are still bemoaning, you are still lamenting, you are still feeling bad about and blaming for how you currently are? Because at this stage in your life, y'all got to get in the driver's seat. Otherwise, you don't know where that car is going to take you, but I guarantee you it's going to go off the road. Now, you've probably also heard a lot about what you have to do to get to the next level, how much effort you have to put into it, and what you can and can't do. Oh my God, what if I get burnout? Oh my God, what if this doesn't work out for me? Is that your concern too? And so the next effigy I want you to let go of is your concept of effort. And I've really had to tune this, and the way I want to present this to you is that effort is sort of a tolerance level. It's a tolerance level that you start to hit almost like a thermometer hits a certain point before it kicks on heat or air conditioning, right? And that's kind of how you learn how to temper your expectations for how much effort is involved. And I've had mentors point this out to me. Like, I've had some great conversations with people who have really pointed out to me how much effort is actually required. And you learn to do this sustainably. And the way I want to just present this to you is that throughout your life, you're going to be honing your effort. You're going to be representing that. And so to put this into context for you too, like myself, like if I threw myself back 20 years ago with everything I have to handle right now, I would have a breakdown. But you will build yourself up there. You will build a tolerance for it the more that you introduce yourself to. And the way that effort actually works is not you doing more. The proper way to do it is that you do more, you hit a tolerance level, and then you ask yourself, well, how do I do this easier? How do I do this differently? Because all too many times you've probably been introduced to this like grind set mentality, and that's crap, y'all. There's a lot of grinding that you do have to do to be real, but you want to do it smart, and you need to actually hit those peak points where you're just like, I don't know what to do anymore. And then you start to ask yourself this question, just how do I do this easier? And then that also kind of brings about some of the biggest mistakes too that a lot of artists will make surrounding effort, surrounding a lot of the topics that we talked about today. And to tell you all about that, go ahead and check out this video right here where I'll tell you all about it. Thanks so much for watching this, and this helped you share with somebody that you know. See you next time.